Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Demystify Selling with Microsoft. And I'm very excited for my new friend, Darren Sharp, to join me today. Darren, welcome.
Thanks, Rob. Great to be here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Darren, I've followed you on LinkedIn for a while, and it sounds like you've seen some of my content, and
I
I
have.
really, you leaning into the area you do is fascinating to me. I think there's a lot of opportunity for partners. So I want to talk about this concept of get on board or get left behind. And that's really what we're going to focus on today. But before we do that, Darren, maybe you could just take a minute and give us a little bit about you.
Yeah, sure. Rob, I say again, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me on today. So my name is Darren Sharp. I work for GPS Global Partner Solutions in Microsoft UK, in our ISV organization, and I'm responsible for our marketplace channel partners, those channel partners that are using the Microsoft Commercial Marketplace as a mechanism of transformation of application modernization. So really helping customers, software vendors, and partners build that muscle memory of using this cloud marketplace strategy.
I love that. And I think that's such a huge topic for partners today and the concept of what we're going to talk about. But before we do that, I just have to point out that I love the Lego collection behind you.
Thank
And
you,
I
sir.
specifically love that Microsoft logo you built.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's rather sad. Well done for spotting that was Lego. I've got to admit, this is a hobby from a little while ago that it's to detract from my inefficiencies, Rob. We can always talk about Lego with a customer or a partner.
Love it, love it. Well, okay, with that, let's get on to our discussion, which is get on board or get left behind. And I think this is so important for partners to really stop and think about what's happening in the marketplace. And you have a great analogy I'd love you to share with the community here. But if partners, I think, don't really take hold of this opportunity now, they are going to be left behind. They truly are going to be left behind. I think that the momentum is in marketplace. I think the market itself sees this purchasing vehicle as the way of the future. So I'd love to jump in and just let's talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, really appreciate the opportunity. I mean, look, there's lots of interesting, exciting, and challenging dynamics at play here. And if we look at the way we consume technology nowadays, it's vastly changed. You listen to the procurement press, and they'll tell you that something like 60% of enterprise buying decisions over the next 2 years will be made by a millennial buyer.
Right.
Now, I'm still not quite sure what a millennial is. I'm pretty sure it's not me. Um, but those that different, age category, they are digital first. They are
Yeah.
going through probably two-thirds of their discovery journey before they have a conversation with us, with Microsoft, with a software vendor, with a partner even.
Right.
It kind of means that, we've all got to find a different way to meet that buyer where they want to go and, find, try, test, and deploy these new applications. And I'd also just say for background, those buyers don't sit in, a central IT function that, we all knew in the days of channels of old. They sit in a line of business. 70% of software as a service is bought in a line of business. And I think something like a third of all ISVs now call themselves line of business ISVs. So it means something very different for channel now. And that's really, what we're trying to do with this Azure Marketplace, commercial marketplace approach and the partnering approach that's multi-party private offer.
I love that. I love that. And it reminds me, interestingly, like I listened to Kevin Peasker speak at Ignite recently, and he made this great point about that purchasing journey that you're talking about. He's like, CEOs now in companies are having to think like technologists, think
Mm.
technology, and the CIO is now having to think like the business leader, having to think like the CEOs would or the line of business leaders would, because that's where they need to be to meet the business. And so I love
Yeah,
that we're talking about this today, that shift is happening, whether we like it or not.
very much so. Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very much so.
And I love the fact that you talked about the traditional channel. Like you and I both have a little bit of gray hair going on, and we've
What's left of it?
fair point. We've seen that shift. Like I was so used to and ingrained in a specific way of selling, and that's
Yeah.
changing. And I'd love to hear you kind of just go a layer deeper on that shift in how we have to as partners think about that.
Yeah, no, it's a really good discussion point, Rob. Thank you. I think um, again, you covered it there as well, and we've kind of started down this path. Um, from a channel perspective, you know, channel partners as I've worked in, as I know you've worked in, been around us for a long time, have done things so well, and delivered to that customer need. Managed that ecosystem of product, whether that be physical on premise, whether that be software premise, or whether that's cloud or hybrid, whatever it is, whatever the technology evolution, we know that over 70% of B2B technology goes to a channel partner. But
Mhm.
those services, that kind of customer intimacy piece in a traditional world has become so good, it's almost become invisible.
Yeah.
And this shift, as you know, as you started to cover here, we've got to capture that as that dynamic, as you just said there, as IT leadership has to do things really differently.
Hmm.
And I think it's kind of case in point. If I was a channel partner, I try and empathize here to try and build the messaging and working with many partners to do this, together. Um, I would look at these digital platforms at the outset and think, I fear this. This is going to take
Yeah.
away from me. But actually, when we dig under the hood of this, it's absolutely additive to a channel partner business. It might be a different motion. It might be a different way of engaging with a software company. It might be a different way of contracting, but actually, it's an incremental profitability model using Azure Marketplace to be able to go and deliver this elasticity. But here's the thing that really kind of struck me, a few months back. When we look at this rate of change of the digital native applications, many of those net new software companies that we don't necessarily know about today, if they're venture capitalist backed, those VC companies are mandating that those organizations start with a cloud because it's low risk,
Hmm.
and they start with a cloud marketplace because that's a fast time to market. Kind of what that means is that the person that's going to discover the new application of today, it's not necessarily going to be the channel partner or indeed Microsoft. It's going to be the customer. The customer is going to go and find that application. Now, the channel opportunity here is that as much as the customer might find and test and, you know, go through a very small proof of concept in a cloud platform, the channel opportunity is that when it comes to enterprise contracting that's delivered with a private offer through the marketplace. That's that you are now my cloud procurement advisory partner. That partner is going to use this multi-party private offer approach to resell through the marketplace. And that's the generational shift I think we're going through. And that's the opportunity that we've all got to uncover.
I want to stop you here, and I think you've landed on something that is either misunderstood by partners, or maybe they're growing into this, but people think, oh, I can't be on the marketplace. My product and service is unique. I can't quote this out one size fits all. And I think that, if I'm hearing you right, that's really what the MPPO, the multi-party private officer, multi-party offers are
Mm,
about is, you know, first you're stopping and you're getting the credibility of being on the marketplace. You're allowing,
yeah,
to your earlier point, those millennials who are doing the research, let them do the research. Hitch your wagon to a provider like Microsoft and get that credibility, but you just know they're going to go out and research that. And so I'd love to have you sort of go a layer deeper on this concept of multi-party offer and
yeah,
help partners understand what that means.
yeah. No, really good point. Thank you. So the way multi-party works effectively is it's taking a solution that's transactable already in the marketplace. And,
Yeah.
let's sort of dispel some of the misnomers here. It's got to be about automation. That listing that's publicly available, hey, that's at a list price and that's expensive.
Yeah.
But it has to be transactable. It has to be automated. So it's got to be software as a service. It's got to be a virtual machine. It's got to be, containerized solution. Any of those automation technologies. So pending that, what we do is we can take that pre-built listing in the marketplace that's commercially available, that software vendor, that ISV, can authorize a discounted price to the partner, and that appears in Partner Center. The partner can then add some value around that transaction. So, maybe there's a master services agreement, or, there's a margin uplift in that. They can then push that offer onto the customer for the customer to accept. And that gives custom terms, custom price, and a custom end user license agreement. And the thing here that I think, maybe I missed of old, or missed that people were not seeing, is that this is done privately. So that channel partner, that selling partner, that multi-party private offer partner, really easy to get signed in. Maybe we'll cover that in a second. But that partner is not publishing anything on the marketplace. They're taking a list price offer that's non-customized. They're customizing it electronically, and they're pushing that on to the customer's Azure portal. And if we think about that, we think about the speed and agility of that for just a second. We've got the chance to get that pre-built SaaS that's well architected in Microsoft, and using all those great Azure tools in the platform. We're able to get that, customize it, put some channel value around it, put that kind of procurement efficiency around it that channel partners deliver into our customers. And we're able to get a customer to accept that, and then Microsoft bills that, and that could all happen in minutes. So that could be a pence per minute, elastic, scalable thing, or it could be a multi-million-dollar software as a service opportunity. It's anywhere in between that. And with a channel partner as this advisory, we can do that super quick. And the last bit I'll say here in terms of opportunity to sort of capture this piece, as much as ISVs can do direct private offers, they can do those directly into customers. The direction of travel here is channel. The analysts now recognize, since Microsoft have launched this multi-party private offer approach, the analysts have upped their channel centricity from 30% to 50%. Actually, I believe in Microsoft, we're likely to see north of 2/3 of marketplace transactions transact through the marketplace partner community. And case in point, we know in Microsoft, these multi-party offers are 2 to 3 times the size of a direct private offer. And that's the channel value. That channel partner is managing those interoperabilities of the technology, managing those ecosystems and adjacencies. Sorry, Rob, that's a long, waffly answer, but I get very passionate and enthusiastic about this.
No, I think we need to go deeper, because to me, this really is the piece of the pie that I think the channel is missing today. Is that people think about marketplace and they're like, oh, I have to have a listing out there and it has to be one size fits all, and that's just not the case.
True.
To your earlier point, there might be a piece of software. I'm an ISV. I have a unique piece of software that solves a unique problem. I could potentially sell that transactable through the marketplace, and the customer gets it and they're done. But that's not the world we live in. Most pieces of software require customization. They require this deep-rooted understanding of the customer's business. And to do that, we need to craft something that's unique to the customer. And that you can't do that and put a million different offers out there. And this is the thing that I think, for a long time I missed, and I think partners are still missing, is that I can, as a channel partner, have an offer for a customer that truly is private. So, let's envision what that looks like and walk through it one more time to really help people understand it, because I think this is such a critical point.
Yeah. No, really, okay. No, absolutely fine. I mean, maybe let's maybe take a different lens on this, and talk about value as we get to that point, because the whole reason why this channel play and this adoption play is really important is about value. Customers want a different value profile from their products, and it means they're going on an adoption journey. And that's why software as a service is really super important. So as a channel partner, the ability to now do this, and I'll talk us through this through the process again super simply, but look at the personas here. We've got a publisher, so an independent software vendor, ISV for the acronym, a publisher, somebody that's got the transactable solution. We've got a selling partner, and that selling partner signs the same terms that the ISV does, gives us a really nice commercial construct. The customer has agreed to the marketplace terms of use by, almost default through their Microsoft customer agreement.
Yep.
Now, to look at that selling partner, and this has been amazing as well. We've only had this multi-party private offer approach in the UK for 4 months now. We're up to something
Right.
like 47 partners. Interestingly, 7 of those partners are net new to Microsoft. They weren't a Microsoft partner before they joined. Now, to get in the program, to be that selling partner persona, you've got to sign into the Microsoft Cloud AI Partner Program. I always forget the acronym for that, Rob. I'm not going to try and say it now. They've got to sign into the program, and they've got to sign in to be a publisher in the marketplace. And they can do that in the US, UK, and Canada today with other territories to come. So that, there's a process and a great team to help with that onboarding piece. But once you've got that within Microsoft Partner Center, the tool that we all know and love, an ISV will be able to electronically issue this offer. You'll see that offer for a customer with a particular Azure billing ID, and that's per customer. They can then access that in Partner Center very simply using the user interface, put some margin on that, agreed customer margin, and then shoot that offer electronically with a specific private URL that the customer can then view and accept. And let me call this out as well, having seen some frequently unasked questions here. The partner is not exposing that margin to the ISV, to Microsoft, or to the customer. The partners that are doing this is fairly profitable. I don't mean fairly as in fairly. I mean, it's profitable, and that's fair profit, if you see what I mean. This is not a race to the bottom. This is not about how do we quote. It's about how do we enterprise contract. And I think that's the beauty of the mechanism.
Right. And therein lies that it's this simplification of the contractual process.
Got it.
And it's already a process that's been built. These customers have agreements with Microsoft today.
Yeah.
So it's really, in my mind, it's taking a step out. It's taking friction out of the purchase process when it comes to that. And to your point, not only are you sending a private URL, you're sending them a private price that's just for them. It's unique to them. It's not a one size fits all. So I think it's really important to understand that. And to pivot for a second and talk about some of the other benefits to Microsoft and say the Microsoft field, why is a Microsoft seller incented, or why do they care so much about the success of this program?
Yeah, that's a great question, and a great change, this fiscal year. And it kind of plays back to that message that customers are buying in many cases rather than building. The IT leadership tells us all the time they want to buy a 95% best fit solution and customize around the edge. And the reason why I'm telling you that in the context of Microsoft sellers, Rob, we absolutely recognize that. So we're now paying the Microsoft seller community on marketplace build sales, MBS, directly into their cloud buckets, into their Azure Consume Revenue, their ACR buckets. We're paying marketplace product delivered through the channel partner, if it is, on that final marketplace build amount. That's going directly into their ACR buckets. And that's really powerful. Many of those, sellers, they're not going to get to their cloud targets this year unless they are working with ISVs and channel partners to transact software. And that's really super powerful. And again, why Microsoft, not necessarily why Field, but why Microsoft? The new buyer of the platform is the software vendor. They're the ones that's innovating with Azure OpenAI and all the great, technology that's within our cloud stack. And how do we get that to the customer? Well, we get that through the marketplace, and we get that through the Microsoft channel partner community, those 500,000 partners that could be using marketplace as a mechanism to drive this application modernization.
Right. You think about the scale of that. So, traditionally channel partners have had this sales team that has a defined sort of geographic territory, and, a seller can only reach so many people in a day. And to your earlier point about how people are buying, all of a sudden we've opened up this brand new market, these brand new geographical regions that we can touch on. And to your point today, this can happen in the US, UK, and Canada. So, that's a massive amount of geography, a massive number of companies.
It is, with more to come as well. And if you look at the power of the platform that sits underneath it as well, And this has been really interesting for me, coming from some other worlds of cloud marketplaces. This is really about enterprise grade transacting. The fact
Yeah.
that in the commercial marketplace, Microsoft can transact in 52 or has 52 tax managed countries where Microsoft is managing that tax. And hey, the customer can accept and be billed for that private offer in any one of 17 currencies, which sounds frightening, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
um, it's in their home Azure billing currency. But the point is, as a partner and as an ISV, you don't have to worry about that. Bank of Microsoft is managing that FX across the life of this private offer effectively. And customers want the local experience. They want a local partner and they want to accept a private offer in their local currency. And I think that's a huge opportunity for our channel and for us in Microsoft to bring that to life. It's the power of this enterprise grade machine for software buying and application modernization.
It really is. And to that point about what the customer wants, it really, in my mind, it frees the customer up to get the best solution from the best provider, regardless of where they might be, yet still be able to transact in their local currency, their local terms. So I think it really just it in some ways levels the playing field for smaller channel partners to compete at scale with the larger partners that maybe had a stranglehold on the fact that they could be in those countries or that. So I love what's going on here. I think it's just a real shift here.
Do you know, on that point, case in point there, and this was fascinating when we ran the preview in the UK, Rob, with MPO. Um, One of the net new partners that transacted during the preview, and this is another case in point. Maybe we'll get to this in a second, but we can decrement those customers' Azure commits
Mm,
using
yeah,
Marketplace. And actually now the MPO partner can do the same thing. So we've got a new partner over here that was net new to Microsoft, signed in for the preview, that delivered a fantastic storage ISV solution, multiple $1 million in the preview, and retired the customer's Azure commit.
right.
Now that got that partner to somewhere they would never have been had they not
Right.
able to do that. Transacting into a Microsoft Enterprise customer, retiring their commitment and getting them closer to their Azure commitment and maybe getting them deeper discount on their Azure overall, and receiving that profitability through the mechanism. So it's case in point. That was that's a small SMB mid-market partner that is now playing with the enterprises in our world. So really
Right.
impactful.
That's an amazing story of how we can level these playing fields. And you touched on something that I think is it's important for partners to understand is this concept of the MAC or the Microsoft or the customer's commit, because
Yeah.
that's a powerful lever that a partner can help both the customer achieve their goal of getting the pricing they want and the Microsoft seller. So maybe you could just talk about MAC, what that is, and just so that everyone really
Yeah.
understands.
Yeah, sure. And it's fascinating coming into Microsoft from elsewhere. The size and scale of these commits is huge. But to give
Mhm.
us some clarity what that is, our enterprise customers are committing to a certain volume of Azure services over a certain period of time. And for that, there is a discount structure that Microsoft would offer for
Yeah,
that commitment, for that managing that cloud migration strategy. And because this tends to be, some of the biggest of enterprises, be honest, those commits can be fairly big.
yeah,
Now, customer changes, cloud migration strategy can adjust, workloads can move around. Essentially, for some customers, this is still a net new message that for certain ISVs, for those that are what we call MAC decrementable or IP co-sell eligible, means that there's been a bit of a surety and assurance in the platform as to how that ISV is built. It's
yeah,
about 3,500 solutions within the catalog today. Those that have gone through that validation, a partner could transact those into a customer and retire that MAC by 100% of the spend value that their transaction is for. So
yeah,
I'll bring that to life with a figure. Let's consider a $10 million Microsoft Azure consumption commit, and let's say a new channel partner that signed up here, they go and transact $500,000 of Wiz, for example, really fast moving
Mhm.
ISV in security ISV in the Microsoft world. Well, that commitment becomes $9.5 million.
Right.
Now, why that's powerful is Wiz haven't had to discount, the channel partner hasn't had to discount. Customers getting great value because they're getting to that commitment much, much quicker.
Yeah.
It's going to mean they're going to get their Azure commits quicker. They might well be able to negotiate a higher, deeper MAC to get some deeper discounts.
Yeah.
And we see that, you know, in some cases, halving sales cycles. It's just connecting the buyer of that particular technology solution with the Microsoft Cloud buyer and saying, hey, are there pre-committed dollars here that we can allocate to this particular technology spend? This multi-party approach here can come and retire this commit for us, get us closer to that commit and get some better value off the bottom line.
I love that, and I love it. And I got to imagine that the Microsoft field salespeople that support those accounts are equally as incented because it's
Yeah.
helping them achieve their number of driving that ACR Azure committed revenue that we talked about, where they're actually consuming it and they're getting compensated for that consumption.
Yeah, it's really powerful. And Rob, what we're seeing is we're seeing customers now include kind of their software world in those consumption commitments as they're now being level set, as now multi-party is rolled out and the partners involved. That partner's able to look at the whole software estate to really look at kind of software asset management and say, well, Mr. Customer, what can we help you modernize here?
Right.
Can we help you holistically adopt this cloud marketplace platform, Azure Marketplace? And can we look at your whole software estate and see, can we help you get better value from it? Can we help you deliver that a little bit more elastically? And hey, at the same time, we can retire your Mac. Because let's not forget, something like 42% of cloud marketplace users are SMB. They
Right.
might be on the journey to a Mac, but actually the reason why they're using Azure Marketplace and storefronts like this is to get this agility and innovation, and also to use some of the tools that are in the platform, like private marketplace, to put some governance and guardrails around this world. So it's this perfect storm of how do we be agile and innovative with new applications, and how do we govern and control this new world as kind of line of business buying comes to the fore.
I love that. I love that. And so to pivot on you for a second and maybe talk about somebody that is just thinking about starting their journey. There are programs out there like the ISV Success Program or Founders Hub. And so where do you coach partners on if I'm new to the marketplace and I just want to start my journey? What's your advice to that partner?
Great question. And so, look, I think first port of call, and we've got a team to help with this, is to get in touch with Channel Ready at Microsoft.com. So, Channel Ready at Microsoft.com, great team of people that will help you as a selling partner go through signing into the Cloud AI Partner Program and getting a publisher account set up in Marketplace. It takes a few days to go through the validation of that. But
Yeah.
that Channel Ready at Microsoft.com, that's a team of real people. Hey, we've got some real people behind this, um,
Love
that
it.
can help you, guide you, jump on a call, get you signed in to be able to get to the platform. So that's kind of first port of call.
Yeah.
Actually, there's loads of assets available. I've got together some assets, which are used globally, but have, started off in the UK. So there's a great set of kind of the marketplace value proposition assets and lots of the kind of supporting materials from some of the analysts. And there's a great link there as well. I'm a big believer in single sources of truth, Rob. So this
Yeah.
link is aka.ms/UKMPO, and I'll pop it I'll pop it
Yeah. We'll
round
pop
again
it in the
later.
chat.
But
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But that aka.ms/UKMPO, that's kind of an onboarding guide, the channel value proposition, and actually a framework of business process change that channel partners could go through, regardless of what size you're at. It's a real simple 4-stage process, how to get from the kind of understanding foundational stage through to growth stage. And if you're a partner that's going to work through those steps, you're pretty much guaranteed to get some success here. I like to think we've made it fairly easy for you.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that there's a place to go because I think one of the challenges partners face is that Microsoft publishes so much information.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
having curated that in a way that partners can consume it in a digestible format, that's fantastic. So I'll encourage partners to check out that link and download the content because it really is the way to start this journey. So
Yeah.
Darren, I want to thank you, my friend. This was such a great conversation, and I think it's such an important conversation, to circle back on the topic of you either have to get on board or you are getting left behind. I think that's so key. So, any parting thoughts or final thoughts for partners as they start to think about their journey?
I guess, yeah, I presented this for a little while, Rob, and those that will know me will be surprised if I haven't talked about Blockbuster versus
Oh
Netflix.
yes, let's do
And
that.
so I won't.
Absolutely love to
So I will end the conversation there. And it's a classic, isn't it? We all love Blockbuster Video. Now we've all got Netflix accounts, and I would say, to the channel partner community out there, we're at the same stage here. We've had this cloud marketplace approach for 10+ years. That long journey of Blockbuster versus Netflix. The time is absolutely now to come and do this. So my call out to the channel partner community is, please come and join us and be a Netflix. Let's not be a Blockbuster.
Absolutely. I couldn't. That is such a fitting analogy for this time we're in and this transition we're in the marketplace. So, Darren, again, thank you so much. And if anybody wants to follow you, is LinkedIn the best place to get in
Absolutely,
touch?
please do. Please, I post a lot of content on Marketplace and MPO. So yeah, I'm Darren Sharp. I'm actually Marketplace Sharp on LinkedIn, Sharp with an E on the end. So feel free to connect with me, reach out to me if I can, help you wherever you are in the world. We'd love to work with you on this multi-party private offer approach. Yeah, I'd love to be connected.
Great. Again, Darren, thank you for your time. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Oh, it's a great conversation, Rob. I really appreciate you asking some really great questions. It's been really good to talk to you today. Thank you.
My pleasure. And